Hi. So for today's practice, we need a sturdy chair, comfortable clothes, and we need something that we can use as a yoga strap. If you don't have a yoga strap, you could use the belt from your bathrobe, or maybe just a towel or a strong piece of cloth. I am using the belt from one of my bathrobes. Today, I want us to focus on really noticing the sensations in our body, really noticing what we feel as we move. And in that way, we will learn to discern what is useful and what might not be quite as useful. I also want to emphasize in this practice your choice, your freedom of choice. I might suggest a movement, and you can choose to either practice that movement or maybe try something that's more beneficial or that feels a little bit more authentic for your body and how you are feeling right now in this moment. Today's practice is just a short, simple chair practice. We don't need the strap right away, so I'm going to place it on the floor. We want our feet to be flat on the floor, and although I'm barefoot, you could choose to have socks on or even shoes. You might notice I don't have any fancy clothing on, just regular street clothes, and I'm not even using a yoga mat today. And and I'm doing this so that you know that you can practice yoga anywhere. You don't need any special equipment. It's just available to you no matter where you are. So, I'm sitting right on the edge of my chair. We're going to plant our feet flat on the floor, and I'm really working to align my ankles with the center of my knees and my knees with the center of my hips. So ankles in line with knees, knees in line with the center of the hips, the hands resting just someplace comfortable. And then we can close our eyes. And if you're not comfortable closing the eyes, you could look toward the tip of your nose or just look down toward the floor. We're going to take a moment to do a little breathing. So let's take a breath in through our nose, and we can exhale through the mouth as if we're blowing out a candle. Take another breath in through the nose. And let's exhale through the mouth as if we're blowing out a candle. And maybe as you're breathing like this, you may notice the shoulders dropping away from the ears. You might notice yourself moving into the present moment and away from the chatter in the mind. And then after this next exhalation, we can return to normal breathing and keeping our eyes closed or looking down. Just take a moment to notice the contact points, noticing the contact points between the soles of your feet and the surface that they are resting on. Notice the contact points between your sit bones, between your hips, and the surface that they are resting on. Maybe even notice the contact points between the fabric of your clothes and your skin, the contact points of where your arms rest in your lap or on your legs. And then bring the awareness back to your breath, noticing the temperature of the in-breath, the temperature of the out-breath. Perhaps noticing the depth of your breath. And we do this without judgment, without expectation. We're just noticing. And then when you're ready, maybe begin to explore a little bit of movement in our neck, in the cervical spine. This could look like just dropping your chin toward your chest and maybe turning the head from right to left. It might it might look like turning your head to look over a shoulder. Remember, these movements are what feels useful to you, and they are entirely your choice. You might choose to keep the movement fluid and continuous, or you could choose to maybe hold a shape, to hold a form for a few breaths. And when this begins to feel complete for you, maybe we can all meet back at center and just drawing a circle in front of our face with the tip of our nose. Now, my eyes are still closed, but I'm going to blink them open in a moment. You can go ahead and change the direction of that circle. And then coming back to center. And if your eyes are closed like mine, maybe blinking them open, bringing the arms down by our side and just exploring some movement in the shoulders. Maybe rolling both shoulders up and back, maybe rolling them forward, maybe just choosing to roll one at a time. It truly is your choice what feels good and useful to you today. Sometimes I like to alternate shoulder to shoulder. Another movement that I often choose is just pulling my shoulders forward and then taking them back. Just moving the shoulders forward and then maybe taking them back. And of course, what feels best is a combination of all these movements. And maybe we can all meet again by just taking the shoulders up toward the ears and then releasing them back down. Taking our shoulders up and releasing them back down. And maybe one more time, lifting the shoulders and letting them come back down. And then just bringing movement into our wrists, just some gentle circles, maybe back and forth going both ways. And we might move into a little flexion and extension with our wrists. How quickly you move, how deeply you move is completely up to you. So the depth of your movement, the pace of your movement is your choice. We might clench our fists and spread our fingers open wide. And all the while noticing what we feel and how we feel it. Let's bring some movement into our elbows as well. So maybe holding the upper arm and circling the lower arm. And then changing the direction of that circle. And changing sides. So holding the upper arm and circling. And changing the direction of that circle. Now, if you like, you can bring the arms down, turn the palms out, take the arms up, and then bring the hands to your heart. You can raise your arms. How high you raise them is completely up to you. Did I mention you have choice? And maybe the next time the hands come to the heart, we'll extend the arms out in front of us and do a little shoulder glide, just letting one hand slide down to the heart as we reach back with the opposite arm, working at the pace and the depth that is useful to us. It's possible you'll have some sensation across the front of the shoulder, maybe some sensation across the chest. And then the next time our palms meet, we can interlace the fingers, bend our elbows, and return to bringing movement into the wrist, just circling the wrists. And then change direction. And we can bring the arms down and maybe give them a little bit of a shake. With my hands on the top of my thighs, I'm gonna begin to circle my torso. Now you can choose lots of different ways to do this. You can keep the movement in one direction and then change sides, or you could just go from side to side if you wanted to. But do make sure that you go in both directions. And then we'll transition to a little bit of flexion and extension in the spine. So I'm keeping my hands on my knees. And as we breathe in, you tip your pelvis forward, you lift through the chest. And as you exhale, round back, tucking the chin toward the chest. So breathing in and lifting your heart, keeping the shoulders away from the ears. Exhaling, rounding back and tucking the chin. Maybe just one or two more times. And again, working at your own pace, working at the depth that is most useful to you, stopping. You know, that is a choice too, stopping. If you need to rest, I said one or two more times, and of course, I think I did three or four. And then coming back to center, a little bit of dynamic twisting. So the palms will turn out, we'll take our arms up. And then when we exhale, we're going to turn to the right. And breathing in, we come back to center. And exhale, we turn to the left. Now you're choosing how deeply you want to turn. And all of us are really trying to not crank with our hands. It's really tempting to kind of take these hands and pull ourselves into the twist, but instead we really want to engage the muscles wrapped around the torso. So maybe one more to each side. We're almost ready to pick up that strap. And then the next time the arms come back to center, let's turn the palms out, press the hands down. I'm going to take hold of my chair leg with my right hand, taking the left arm up and over. And then breathing in, the left arm pulls me back up, and I'll exhale and take the right arm up and over. As you do this, you may notice some sensation along the torso. And another way to do this would be to not take the arm up and over, but to just reach down. So instead of taking the arm up and over, you could just reach down. And let's do one more on each side. And then we'll come back to center. And so far, our movement has been pretty fluid, pretty nonstop, and we're going to transition to something a little bit more static. So we're going to hold some of these stretches. So find your belt. We want to hold on to the belt with our hands, maybe, I don't know, maybe about 3 feet apart. I'm keeping my arms straight. I'm keeping the belt taut. And as we breathe in, we're just taking the arms up. And I'm sorry you can't see my hands, they disappear. As we exhale, we're just taking the arms back a little bit and then bringing the hands back down. Breathing in and up. Exhale, stretching back, keeping our lower ribs in. It's kind of tempting to kind of arch back, but we want to keep our spine neutral, our armpits open, our inner elbows open. Let's go up one more time and stretch back. And then we'll bring the arms back down. We're going to bring the hands in just about maybe a little bit more than a hand width. My arms are still straight, my shoulders away from my ears. We're going to breathe in, lift our arms, and stretch back. And then bring the arms back down. Now, I'm taking my arms all the way up because they're happy to do that. It might not be true for you, so you do you. You do what feels good for you. One more time, up and back down. And one more set of 3. This time the hands are maybe just a little bit wider than my thighs. And then breathing in and up. And as I reach back, I'm exhaling and then releasing. Breathing in and out and relaxing. And one more time. Bringing the arms back down. Just let the strap rest. Give your shoulders maybe a little bit of a roll, a little bit of a movement, whatever feels good. It could be a hug. And if you opt for the hug, make sure that you take the other arm on top. Okay, I said we were going to do some static stretches, so here we go. We're holding onto the strap about as wide as my thighs again, shoulders away from my ears, arms nice and straight. We're just taking the arms up to the shoulder line. And then keeping the knees and the hips facing forward, we're just turning to the right. This is our upper back. So just turning a little bit to the right and then coming back to center and bringing the arms down. Breathing in, breathing out. Taking 1 or 2 breaths here. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in and out. One more. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. My shoulders were getting very warm. You can shake out the arms again. Maybe give the shoulders another roll, maybe another hug, whatever is going to feel good to you. Just kind of integrating that work, integrating that movement. Ah, okay. Lateral stretch. So, hands again, just a little bit wider than my thighs, strap taut, arms straight, taking our arms up, and then keeping both hips on the seat of the chair, just reaching up and over to the right, keeping both arms straight. Now I'm kind of pressing out through my left fist. You can see my shoulder move as I press the left fist up toward the ceiling. And if you do this, you may notice a lot of opening in the left rib cage. And then we come back to center, do the same thing on the other side, reaching up and over, trying to get my strap out of the way, and then pressing. You can see my shoulder move. You can see my left elbow got soft. I want to keep that straight. And then coming back to center, we're going to go one more time on each side. So reaching over to the right, pressing that left hand toward the ceiling, feeling that nice opening along the ribs, coming back to center. One more time to the other side. Ugh. Sometimes I just need to make sound effects. And then coming back to center and bringing the arms down and rolling the shoulders again. And maybe giving yourself another hug. And when we do that, you might want to roll the upper back forward. Breathing in and up, opening the arms nice and wide. And another hug, the other arm up and over, and rolling the upper back forward. And then coming back to center. Now we are done with the strap for now. I'm going to toss it to the side. We're going to actually sit back in our chair. Now you can see that my feet aren't quite flat on the floor. This might happen to you as well. And when that happens to me, I'm very lucky. I have a whole bunch of yoga blocks that I can choose. But if you don't have yoga blocks, just use a couple of books. Grab a couple of books that are of equal height, put them down, put your feet on top. And now I feel that connection again. I feel that connection between the soles of my feet and the surface that they are resting on. Sitting back in our chair, hands resting on our thighs maybe, or just someplace comfortable, feet firmly planted, shoulders relaxed. We're going to choose again to either close the eyes or maybe look down toward the tip of the nose. And just notice the breath. Once again, taking 3 or 4 intentional breaths by breathing in through the nose, exhaling through the mouth as if we're blowing out a candle. And breathing in and exhale. And one last time. And then returning to normal breathing. And with each exhalation, maybe feeling ourselves floating to a different level of stillness. Feeling the weight of your body supported by the chair. With each exhalation, letting go of anything that you might be holding on to, whether it's in your body or in your mind or in your heart. Just taking this next few minutes to be totally present. And maybe you'll notice the exhalation lengthening until it's just a little bit longer than the in-breath. And if that's happening for you, know that that is just really nice for the nervous system. It's very, very calming to have that nice long exhalation. And then maybe with your next exhalation, you might begin to bring a little bit of movement back to the fingers, back to the toes. There is no rush at all. Just moving gently back into the body. Sometimes it's really nice before we open our eyes. Sometimes it's really nice to rub the palms of the hands together. And when we do that, we generate a little bit of warmth. And when you feel the palms becoming nice and warm, you can cup them over your eyes. And then as you blink your eyes open, you're opening the fingers, letting that light filter in really gently. So letting the light come back into the eyes isn't so aggressive, isn't so harsh. It's just really gentle. And maybe we can bring our palms together and take a moment to be grateful for this time that we have to practice. Taking a moment to feel gratitude for being together in community as we practice. Thank you so much. Now, this video was kind of pretty much the upper body. Our next video is going to focus on another chair practice, but kind of from maybe thinking a little bit more about the hips and the legs and a few little standing stretches. But for now, practice shoulder, arms, neck, and I will see you the next time.